More money, you got less problems. At least minor ones, all your basics accounted for. Team elite I run with, I'm guaranteed to be Final Four. Less money, you got more problems. More money, you got less problems.
All right, good evening back, bringing Albany communities knowledge. Tonight, I'm not even gonna say what I typically say. I always end up saying, man, I got the pleasure of interviewing a childhood friend, and I think it's just becoming redundant. So everyone knows that I know the people that I interview, long story short. But it is a privilege and an honor to interview tonight's guest. I have Miss Tiera Gailliard-McAfee.
You got it right.
All right. Yeah, listen, I want to make sure I get it right. And I was practicing on, I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to say Tiera M. Da, 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 da. I was like, damn, I think it's Monique. I said, I ain't going that far.
Yep, that was right too, though.
Yeah. I said, well, thank you for joining us tonight. I truly look forward to diving into your interview tonight for several different reasons. But you came up in Albany at a time period very much similar to mine, which is why I really want to get into your story, because I'm interested in seeing how strong your connection to the town still is, and why or how it produced you to be the person that you are today. So Albany community, welcome Tiera on tonight. T, thanks for allowing me to interview tonight.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Well, listen, man, before we get to your official first question, I always like to start off just by asking an unofficial question. You know, how have you and the family been surviving during quarantine? You know, we've been quarantined or locked down pretty much for almost a year now. So, you know, I mean, have you guys been doing anything creative? How has it affected you and your household? How have you guys been surviving COVID-19?
Yeah, it's been a challenge. Prior to COVID, we had just started doing some family yoga. So we had a yoga instructor coming in here every week, and we were doing yoga together. Of course, when COVID happened, that stopped. But I encouraged for all of us to continue to do it, even though she wasn't, you know, coming. So that's something that we did, or we do together, you know, to release stress, because it's a lot going on in this house. I'm working, my husband's working, my kids are distance learning, and my youngest son is in 2nd grade. So it's not like, you know, he can just go throughout the whole school day on his own. So he's, you know, he relies on me and his father a lot. And so, and I take my space. My husband takes his space. You know, the kids, my oldest son is 12, he'll be 13 this year. So he definitely takes his space, because he's 18 now, and trying to get away from his little brother. But yeah, so we all take our individual spaces, but then we come back together. And we try to eat dinner together more. So it's like, I don't like to say the pandemic has been a gift and a curse. I like to say it's been a gift and a challenge. But we're maneuvering as best as we can. But yes, it has brought us closer.
Nice.
The conversations, you know, we're talking more, meaning like my children, my boys, I try to encourage them to express their feelings and be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we have our little lemon squeezes, me and my son. So that's something new that has happened since the pandemic. Because prior to the pandemic, we were like lightning strikes
every which way,
but present. So yeah.
Okay, listen, man, this as you said, it's not normal, and what we've been experiencing, you can either try your best juggling it because it's not normal, or you can just be consumed by it and just be like, man, I just want the old thing back. I want life to go back like normal. But it's just like, you got to find ways. This is definitely brand new for for all of us. And as my pastor says in my church all the time, he said, if you come out of this the same way you went into it, what were you doing with your time? So it's great to hear that, you guys have been able to connect in another way in regards to, strengthening the relationship in the household, and just figuring out, how do we survive in these walls?
In these walls every single day. Woo!
Yeah.
And I'm sure, in me being in that's another, a level to it, is that I'm the only female in my house. So, that brings on another level to the situation.
Okay. Well, my wife has the same thing. So it's 3 guys in the house and just her. But your boys are a lot older than mine, so I can only imagine it feels differently, because at least these little guys, they still side with her for everything. So it's like no, daddy, and he's like oh, we're going with mommy.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to you surviving. Well, like I said, I know your history, so this ain't nothing new for you anywho. Being around a bunch of guys, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Like my mama said, she said you was born to have boys. That's what she told me.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I'm glad that you guys have survived or continue to survive during the quarantine. And like I said, man, I look forward to diving into tonight's story with you so that the Albany community can find out more about you. I know you and I did reconnect before when you found out about the project, and I was like, yo, I would love to tell your story, because you have a unique and dope story, and it partly inspired me too. So, I can't wait for you to tell your story.
All right.
So, well, my first official question for you tonight is, what are you doing now? What kind of work do you do? What kind of passion projects are you working on? Tiera, here's your opportunity, or T, as you like to be called with a question mark at the end of it. T, here's your opportunity to tell the Albany community about you.
Okay. Well, I am a social worker. I work for a state agency here in Maryland. I work in a program called Family Preservation. So I work with families in my community where I live, and just basically linking them to different community resources. I advocate heavily on mental health, parenting, education, and substance abuse treatment, if that's needed. So mainly I'm linking families to resources. That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this, have you seen an uptick in the amount of people that you've had to work with over the last year due to COVID-19?
Absolutely. Yes, it has definitely been an uptick because, people are going out of their minds in their homes. This is something that we've never seen before. A lot of parents are stressed out. A lot of parents are out of work, and they're trying to hold space for their children who have to, do school at home. So, yes, it's definitely been an uptick. With regard to mental health, my push for it is that they go and seek it out. And I also always tell the families that I work with that I suggest that they ask for a Black or brown therapist, because I think that's very important. So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Listen, I am a huge advocate for therapy. I think my first therapist was a Caucasian woman, did not work at all. My current one is a Black woman, and she does wonders for me and my household. So I'm a huge advocate for therapy and being able to help to reconstruct ourselves, because that's a huge part of it. And I know Dr. L and I talked about it too, because, a lot of times our society and our families tells us to just push, just keep pushing, just keep pushing. And a lot of times it's not until you have to sit down and deal with everything that, you're forced to deal with it, but your body will react in a certain way when you're forced to deal with some stuff. So I can only imagine, you know, I mean, about that uptick and how many additional families that really do, I guess the mental part of it has been exposed a little bit more because you can't be out and about just wandering and finding things to do. Now you're forced to deal with yourself, deal with your household. Yeah,
absolutely.
Whether you want to or not.
Whether you want to or not. And that's another thing that has helped me, I forgot to mention, helped me through this pandemic is therapy and seeing my therapist. So yes. Okay,
there you go. There you go. And you didn't mention passion projects, but one of the things I see that don't worry. I'm coming around because one of the things I see that you are very active and adamant about is being a sports mom. I think that's what I might have seen you dub it. Yeah, sports mom. So you know, I see you're heavily active with your sons and their sports activities and stuff like that. So I can imagine that is something that you're very passionate about. Any other passion projects you working on outside of work?
Yeah, absolutely. Working with Team Black Girls. That's something that I'm gonna do. You know, I've been brainstorming and strategizing, but it's something that has been on my mind and my heart for a little while now. And it's just right now at this point, it's just about me executing and actually, you know, with you and these interviews you have been doing, and I know you had Motto, right? The whole thing about mentorship, I was thinking like, well, you know, as opposed to mentoring girls in my area, maybe I could mentor a couple in Albany virtually.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that later, but yes.
Okay. That's dope, and it is needed. Yes. And that's part of the reason that we're doing, or I'm doing back, primarily is because like there's a lot of unsung heroes, yourself included, that have made it out of Albany or that still live in Albany that are doing positive things. And if you can't see people that look like you or identify with people that you are familiar with, sometimes you think that it doesn't exist, and it does exist. So, you know, people need to hear your story, see what you're doing, and realize that, you know, I can still make it out here and I can still be, you know, the around the way girl. I see your earrings right now. So, you know, and that's it. And to be able to make that connection. So that's pretty dope to, and anything that I can help to facilitate that or will be dope, because it needs individuals. Albany, when I say it, Albany needs individuals that look like you and I, that people can identify with and relate to.
Absolutely. So I'm so big on the whole, you know, looking like yourself. You know what I'm saying? That breaks down walls. I know since we've been working from home, you know, me and talking to my clients, like now that I don't have to dress up in slacks and a button-up shirt and all of that. I dress just like how I am right now. This is how I talk to my clients. Nice. And their walls just come down. You know what I'm saying? It's like, are you a social worker? Yes, I am. You know, so that's important to me, to be true to myself and still, you know, help people with their goals.
Nice. And there's a word for that, authenticity. You know what I mean? It's something I throw around in this household all the time. Me and my wife was just talking about 2 days ago. And I think we ended up watching that new Netflix special. What is it? Malcolm and something.
Malcolm and Marie.
And Marie, yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard about it.
Oh, okay. All right. So never mind. I won't go there yet. All right. Well, I'm gonna go to your second question. This is my favorite question that I get to ask all interviewees, because it lets me know a little bit more about your mindset on Albany. What's your favorite place to visit in Albany and why?
Oh, that's easy. My grandparents' house.
Okay.
My grandparents' house is my absolute favorite place to be at. That's the first stop I make when I come there. But it's it's love, it's family, it's nostalgia, it's the smells, it's home. And you know, like if I'm coming home and I, you know, tell people that I'm gonna be home, like, you know where to find me, right at my grandparents' house. And Stewart's.
Why Stewart's? What are you craving for in Stewart's?
The ice cream. A hand-packed pint. Are you crazy? Okay. You know, come on now with the hand-packed pint. Don't even.
Hey, listen, man, we just gonna put it on the record. We're gonna put it on the record. So
yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay, and shout out to your grandparents, man. Shout out to your grandfather. I think I seen you guys celebrated, was it 79, 80? It was 80. Something. It was 80. Yeah, listen, that's a major accomplishment. You know, I used to, your grandparents and I, well, I should say I attended their church, you know, because they were definitely there way before me, prior to me moving down to the DC metro area. So shout out to them. His Skins made it to the playoffs.
The playoffs, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's about the
about the
first,
gist.
That's it. But shout out to making it to 80 and being a staple for you and your family. So shout out to your grandparents, man.
Thank you.
Here's a question for you. Thinking of your younger self, T with a question mark. What do you wish someone had taught the younger Tiera?
Financial literacy.
Get out of here.
Taxes, credit, things of that nature. Like, you know, when I first got my apartment, you know, they run your credit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know about any of that stuff. No one ever talked to me about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, my mom worked, my grandparents worked and everything, but that's the extent of what I knew about money, is that you work and you get paid, and that's it. I didn't know about taxes, credit, getting your taxes done, you know. So yeah, that's something I wish that I would have known when I was younger.
Okay. I think that is probably the number one answer. And I might have interviewed close to 20 some odd people, actually probably more than 20 some people now, but that's been the number one answer in regards to, what is something that they wish someone would have told the younger self. And financial literacy has been high on the list. And I agree with it 100%. You know what I mean? And it's, I agree with it 100%. All right. Do you think education opened up doors for you? Why or why not?
Absolutely, yes, it did. It opened my eyes to so many things. And I'm speaking specifically to the Black college that I went to, which is Virginia Union.
Everyone's entitled to make a mistake.
But yes, it absolutely. What was the question? Open my eyes up to what?
Yeah. Do you believe that education saved you or opened up doors for you?
Oh yeah, definitely opened up some doors. Saved. I know me, Shauna, Tia, you know, the crew. We often talk about that. Like, if we didn't go away to college, like, where would we be? Jesus.
Real talk.
Like, seriously, where would we be? So I guess you could kind of say saved. I mean, I don't know, but it definitely opened my eyes to just like there's a whole nother world outside of Albany. Yeah. There's other people from all walks of life, you know. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and for me, the reason why I said earlier was like your journey and story partly inspired me. It's like seeing you go away to school. That was like one of my earliest experiences of somebody that I knew going away, and was just like, well, okay, well, she went down there and did that. You know, well, it's possible.
It's possible.
So, it's possible. Yeah. It's possible, and that's the thing, man. So you know, I think education is a huge piece that opens up doors, which is why I wish that everyone takes advantage of the opportunity. It doesn't mean that it's necessary for everyone, because everyone's path can be totally different, and there's a bunch of other skills. But sometimes the experience, like my experience going to Charlotte, changed my life. Period.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like you said, you can go away, realize I can have another life outside of Albany. I still love Albany, but I can have another life outside of Albany, and I can learn things and bring them back to Albany.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, home is gonna be home. Home is there, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. What role did racism play during your early education between kindergarten and 12th grade, if any?
I would say that I haven't experienced, or not that I can think of, experienced overt racism.
Okay.
I would say more covert that I can remember, and I was a senior. My guidance counselor at the time, they're not referred to as guidance counselors anymore, guys. They're school counselors. But at the time, I don't even remember his name, and that's crazy. He was a white male. And I went to him, you know, let him know the colleges that I had applied to. And he was like, okay, he was going through, he was like, okay. You don't want to add Hudson Valley? And while there is nothing wrong with Hudson Valley at all, that's not where I wanted to go. I didn't want to go to Hudson Valley. I didn't want to go to a 2-year school. I wanted to go to a 4-year school, and I wanted to go to a Black college. I was very adamant about going to a Black college. I knew I wanted to go to a Black college. So when he said that, I was just like, huh? You know? So, and I don't know, it was just like, why did you say that? I never got the answer, but sometimes I think about that and I'm like, oh, I wish I could have visited Albany High if he was still there and go see how he was doing, you know what I mean? But outside of that, I can't think of any racist things that I have gone through my school years.
And that's fine. Listen, I always tell people that is a blessing. You know, so there's been some people that I've interviewed that said that, you know, I haven't had any experience with it. And that's good, you know what I mean? Because the less, the better. But it is definitely something that happens. And it's interesting that I'm not, that you mentioned the guidance story, school counselor story. My school counselor, I remember the person's name and I will not say it. For the purpose of tonight's interview, but I remember my guidance counselor's name, and what she told me too was pretty much similar to what your guidance counselor told you. And she told me, she was like, "Hey Tyrell, you know, you should really consider going to Hudson Valley." And then I didn't really have like major aspirations for going to school or knew where I wanted to go, but I just knew that one right there was like a gut punch. I'm just like, well, okay, well, damn, Hudson Valley. So, but luckily for me, you know, I had already applied for, got accepted to Johnson C. Smith, and that's where I ended up. But yeah, so when you just said it, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because, you know, I thought my guidance counselor was pretty dope. You know what I mean? Still to this day, I think she was pretty dope, but that recommendation was just like, and looking at it in a broader context, I might be able to give some understanding or some leeway to her for that, because like I said, Hudson Valley is a great school. Any school can be a great school if you utilize it the right way, and you want to be able to have an opportunity in the event that you don't get a chance to go away to a HBCU or to whatever is your other school of choice.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? It definitely stung. But like I said, the more mature you get, the more you realize too that, you know, there is some validity or strength in having a backup plan. And maybe she should have just said it. He was like, I want you to have a backup
plan. Right. Say that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Say that. And shout out to VUU, because I did have the Honorable Derek Johnson on earlier. He might have been the second or third person I interviewed.
I watched that. Listen, I watched that interview and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I've seen him before and had no clue he went to Virginia Union.
Yep.
So you gotta link me to him or something.
I got you covered. And he is the most accessible councilman I know, and he loves connecting with folks. Literally, whether you're on this side of the green, on this side of the fence or the other. I even had him connect with a friend of mine that's still locked up, and they made a powerful connection with that. So I would definitely make that happen. And it was funny hearing his stories of Richmond. Because he was just sitting there talking about this barbershop in Chamberlain Ave, and he just like, how you know about Chamberlain Ave? Like, chill, kid, chill, kid. But yeah. So I'll definitely make that connection for you.
All right.
The next question for you is gonna be in relation to my shirt. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter isn't just about police brutality, but it's also about dismantling systematic racism. If you were in charge of mobilizing a portion of the Black community, what are two things that you think we should focus on, T?
I would say mental health.
Okay.
Education / medical.
What do you mean by medical?
So what I mean by that is a lot of times Black people are not taken seriously when they go to the hospital. And it's, causing long-term effects on people's, health issues. And this goes back like, hundreds and hundreds of years, where I had learned that, particularly with Black women, and that they think Black women or Black people, period, are desensitized to pain. Like, we can just take any type of pain. So a lot of times when, our people are going to doctor's appointments, stressing that something is wrong, but they get dismissed and they get sent home, and then something, happens. So that's why I said medical.
Gotcha.
That's a huge issue.
Okay, and it's one that's already received a spotlight. Thanks to our new vice president. That is one of the initiatives that she's spending energy towards, and spotlighting the treatment, especially for Black women in hospitals.
Yes.
And the mortality rates during birth giving. So, but yeah, man. So you said education, medical,
mental health.
And I think the older I've gotten, the more I realize how mental health really does affect people. And it's crazy because the more you become exposed, the more you can start to go back and realize, even with our friends, even with our family, and be like, that's why that was happening.
Or we experienced some trauma.
Yeah.
We all have. We may not have looked at it that way. I mean, a lot of stuff just seemed normal, but it wasn't, So, and that's the root of a lot of this stuff that's going on in Albany.
Yeah. Because it's not normal.
Nope.
Not normal. How did growing up in Albany prepare you for adulthood?
Hmm. How did Albany? That's a loaded question there. I don't want to say it's loaded. It's super broad.
I can give you an idea of where some people in the past have gone with it.
Okay.
So some people have just said that, their experience in Albany helped to prepare them for other things that they would experience later on in life. It's just like you can experience the full gamut of things in Albany, even though it's a small city. But I mean, you're gonna run into your fair share of almost anything,
Right.
and most of people say that helped their experience later on in life because of their earlier experiences.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Well, since you put it that way, I would say, because I was so involved with I was involved in a lot of things in Albany. But again, here we go back to that staying true to yourself thing. But I've brought me to every arena.
Okay.
And when I say me, that means the girl from Albany.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of things that I participated in just helped me maneuver through life.
Okay. Yeah, I think interviewing JC early, he said the same thing. He was just like, a lot of times people see the polished version of him, and it was just like, but he said, listen, he said, real, I can have a suit on, but underneath the suit, you know what I mean, it's still that same kid from Green Street. You know what I mean? So when you say that, you bring Albany with you through your natural self, your authenticity is what I want to say. So, you know what I mean? It stays with you.
Yeah.
If you allow it to, and you showcase it, and you're not embarrassed about it.
Right. Yeah. And that's right. You can't be embarrassed about it. I don't know if you've experienced this, but like when you go to college and they might hear that you're from New York, they automatically think that you're from the 5 boroughs.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be like, hold up. I'm not from the city. I'm from Albany. Mm-hmm. And everyone thinks that it's a huge suburb. And I'm like, where did you all get this from? Because it's not.
You up there by Buffalo, right? Nah, kid. Buffalo's 5 hours away. You know what I mean? You got mad cows and stuff up there. So,
nope. Yes, that whole shtick. So
yeah, and I mean, and part of that is just ignorance. It's just because really, like, I never knew how big New York State was until I probably got out and started visiting people that were locked up, and it's like, man, I'm still in New York. I've been driving for this long, and I'm still in New York. So but for a lot of people, it's just like, oh, you're from Albany, man. Anyone that knows Tyrell knows that I speak so much about Albany. I was just talking to my boy Callie's mom, who lives in Charlotte now, and I think I might have sent her the link to our website for back, and she was just like, boy, you love Albany. Just like, yeah, it's a huge part of my being, whether I'm in the DC metro area or back home, and it's just always just trying to, what can we do? Because it's a burning desire just to see the city get what it deserves, and we deserve a lot more than what we're getting right now up there. So, yeah. Which will lead me to this question I want to ask. Sadly, Albany has seen more and more violence, and our communities have experienced a lot of loss over the years. Definitely last year, 2020, being the worst year I have ever, probably statistically the worst year Albany has seen in regards to shootings, killings, stabbings, and homicides. But what changes would you like to see in Albany, and what is your hope for the city, T?
I would like to see some type of like communication happening, meaning does anyone have like a hand on these individuals? You know what I'm saying? Like I remember in one of the past interviews, I think it was Crystal who said Albany is nothing but about 10 to 12 big families, right? So it's like, how can we, I don't know the answer, but how can we get access? Is anybody talking? Is there town hall meetings? I don't know. But just, and I'm not saying talking at the youth, but even like lending an ear. Like, is anybody listening to what they have to say? You know what I mean?
Man, I think we reached a pivotal point recently too. You know what I mean? With the most recent death of Anita up there, you know what I mean? To see how that situation turned out, but to see how the community responded with, like, a lot of times we say enough is enough. I really feel like the people felt like enough was enough with that one there.
With that one.
Yeah, because, you know, so yeah, there's some people that have their ears to the street. There's some people who try to, you know what I mean, make the connections and stop it before it happened. Albany also has Snug, which is a wonderful program. You know, one of the guys I interviewed my last like a couple weeks ago, Sean Cooks, he's a part of that too. And they really do a good job. But the other part of it is that we just got to do a better job of wanting and seeing more. And it's just like, when we get enough of, you know, when we get tired of that being accepted, which I think a lot of people are, because I've seen so many people speaking up recently in regards to, like, you know what I mean, enough for the fuckboy shit. You know what I mean? Enough is enough. Period.
So, like, what happened to the community centers and stuff? Like, where are they? I mean, there was I hate to, you know, go back, but I'm just saying, like, we had so much, you know, we had the VI, the Arbor Hill Community Center. I mean, it was just things for us to do. Yeah. And so, yeah, where are those places? Because I don't know.
They're non-existent anymore. I know that
they're PAL anymore. Does the police have PAL anymore?
The police still has PAL. So Lenny is still running PAL. Yes, we still have PAL, which primarily I think operates up out of the VI up there, if I'm saying that right. They are slated to redo, they're supposed to build a new community center right there in 3rd Street Park. So that was announced at the end of last year with Honorable Jamel Robinson, excuse me. They're going to be doing a new community center up there in 3rd Street Park, and I'm going to ask him more about that. I interviewed him in, I think, 2 weeks. But like you said, there was a community center everywhere you went. You know what I mean? There was the VI, there was Arbor Hill, it was St. Joe's, it was the Rec Center, the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA. It was all types of centers. Yeah. And now it's like, where do people have a place to go?
Yes.
Yeah. And part of that too, you know, I'm big on accountability. Part of it too is that the things that we do have, we got to keep safe. We have to keep away from all the other nonsense, because when you start bringing it there, you know, now it adds a negative light to the positivity that is supposed to be, like team night. What Cook has been doing with team night for years. Him and why am I drawing a blank right now? Anywho, Graham. I can't think of his other name, but what they were doing with team night, and it was just like, you know, that was a staple in Albany. Whether you were from uptown or downtown, you know, it was a safe space that Cook was had provided. Okay. And we need more access to those things. and everyone's not going to be playing basketball. You know, I know you're a big ball head.
Newports.
Yeah, you know, everyone's not going to be playing basketball though.
Nah.
Like, and Mojave said it last week. He was just like, we need pockets for everybody. We need spots for people who want to be creative and into music. We need spots for people who are in the sports. Like Jamel Hood opened up Hood House of Hoops right there next to where Anya used to live. I think that's what you call it.
Okay, yeah.
So that center right there is now Hood House of Hoops.
Okay.
And it's like so but we need more places like that in the South End and in Arbor Hill to give us the space. And, you know, a safe space.
Yeah,
man. Let me see. Success is measured in many different ways. How do you measure success and how do you stay motivated?
Well, let's see. Success, I measure it quantity over quality over quantity. How you feel, you know, how you feel about what you're doing. Is it a passion? You know, if it is, then you're not really working. How I stay motivated, my children.
Nice.
My children keep me motivated. Absolutely. When I want to give up, like quit my job sometime.
I was just saying that earlier today. Boy, the baby gonna quit.
Listen. But you know you can't, so you got to keep going. You know, and in between, you know, do some deep breathing exercises. That helps too. But yeah, definitely my kids keep me motivated because they're my legacy. You know, and you know, I want to be a good role model for them and for them to know that mommy doesn't quit.
Nice. That's probably going to lead into this next question, because 9 times out of 10 people that have kids that I've interviewed always end up saying they're kids, but it might not be, because you might have used that answer already. What about your life's path are you most proud of?
I would say being me.
Okay.
All the time. Taking risk. I mean, more so when I was younger though. Just, you know, jumping out there, going to college in Virginia. And then right after college, I went and got my master's in Cleveland, Ohio. That was, I don't know what I was thinking when I went. I had no family, no friends. I was out there by myself, you know, literally doing the damn thing. It was hard. But I did it. And then after that, I came home for about 2 months and was like, I gotta get the hell up out of here. Quickly. Yeah. I'm talking scrounging up. Like, I gotta give me an apartment somewhere, right? And I was able, by the grace of God, I was able to get out of there in about 2 months, and I moved to Virginia. And yeah, and then I stayed there for a year, moved to another spot in Virginia, and then I moved to Maryland, and here I am. But yeah, so getting back to it, I would say being me and taking risk.
Okay.
I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I took the risk that I did. And it's funny because I was talking to my youngest son earlier today, and he was like, Mommy, where did you live before Maryland? And I told him what I just told you, like, oh, I went to school here and I did this. And he was like, Mom, you lived a lot of places. And I thought about it and was like, damn, I did.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And it actually just, I mean, traveling sets the bar so high, and it makes everything so it tells you how small this world really is, right? Like when we were younger, like I would think that Troy and Schenectady were so far, right? And I'd be like, man, you know, I gotta take the 55 bus all the way up Central Avenue to go visit my dad, and be like, man, this bus ride is forever. And like those were like the longest commute, let alone you start being able to get out and go down to the city, go down to Fordham Road in the Bronx and go shopping and stuff. It's just like, wow, you know, but then you just realize that the world is much bigger than that. You know, it's you know what I mean, you can go to different states, you can go to different countries, you know what I mean, you can go to different, yeah. So it's just you know what I mean? So it's I think that it adds flavor to any person's story, because you're going to either learn how to blend in, or you're going to either go somewhere new and be complaining about how this isn't like your last place.
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, which is actually going to lead me to this. How has traveling or relocation impacted your worldview?
Pretty much what you just said. I mean, you're going to learn, you learn to adjust, you know what I mean? To whatever environment that you go to, you move to, or visit. But, you know, it opens your eyes and you're able to see things from different perspectives, you know? So yeah, I haven't gone to Morocco like you have, but, but yeah, I mean, you know, it just opens your eyes to, you know, like you said, it's a whole world out there, and so many different people with, you know, different backgrounds, and you know, yeah.
It's important, man. I always tell anybody, it's like in my experience, the two most important pieces are exposure and consistency. I think that if on a consistent basis we're able to be exposed to different places, through different foods, through different people, ultimately, you know what I mean, your awareness, your alert that there's different things out here in the world is just different. It's like we just bought a globe for our guest room the other day, and I told my wife, I was like, yo, I just want to show, you know what I mean, I like my 4-year-old, that he about to be 5 in June, but this guy is just like, he's gonna be a worse version of me. You know what I mean? I say that in all of the good ways, because one, he'll out-talk me, and that's a given, but he loves learning. So I'm just like, you know, I just wanted to be able to show him different spots on it. Like, he has a cousin whose name is London, right? And he's got a friend from daycare, an older girl, but him and her talk all the time, right? And she was just telling him the other day, he was like, you know, I was talking to my cousin London, and she was like, well, do you know London is a place? And he's like, no, it's just my cousin London. So ever since then, I was just like, I gotta show him that this is a place. Yes. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, so exposure just like opens up your mind in ways that, you know what I mean, once that bulb is lit, it can't be turned off.
Yeah, exposure is definitely is key. I mean, that was the whole reason why I went away. You know what I'm saying? Just being exposed as a young girl. A lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people even still know this now, or they definitely didn't know it then, but Linda Jackson Chalmers, who is the former, you know, principal at Arbor Hill, she's my cousin. And her and her husband would come and get me, you know, on some weekends, and we would go to Skidmore. She graduated from Skidmore. So I was exposed to college that way, like the idea of the whole concept of college that way, horseback riding, things like that. You know, yeah, it matters. You know what I'm saying? And then watching Different World, of course, Hillman. That's where my whole, like, oh, the Black college thing that piqued my interest. But yeah, definitely exposure is very, very important, and it helped shape me and help me skedaddle right out of Albany.
Okay. And shout out to Linda Jackson Chalmers and her husband for that, because I know you said just about her principal status, but I know she's held several different positions within the Albany City School District over the years.
Yes.
But yeah, man. Let me see. I got 2 more questions for you. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
What opportunities do you wish that you had taken advantage of when you lived in Albany? Or what opportunities do you wish you can bring back to Albany? I just added that one. That was a remix on the go.
Yeah, I was like, so I can't think of any opportunities that I wish I would have taken advantage of, because I literally was a part of a lot of shit. Like, I played basketball, I played soccer. I did summer league at the VI. I was a part of Progressive Youth. Shout out to Rhonda Brown, Aunt Rhonda. She ran the Progressive Youth group at Union Missionary Baptist Church. The Financial Explorations Program at Albany High, I was a part of that, along with Tia and Joe Bell and Kellen and a couple of other people. And we took classes at SUNY. We went to SUNY, like twice a week, I think.
Okay.
That was a great program. I know they had financial explorations, they had health explorations. Yep. I'm not sure if they still have that going on right now, but I think that was a great program, and that if they don't have it, they should bring it back.
Okay, I agree. I didn't take advantage of it, but I thought that was dope. To be able to have firsthand experience and exploring career paths.
Absolutely.
One of the things that they've done with the what was it called before? It used to be called Schoolworks. I'm not sure what it's called now, but the summer youth program. So instead of having the kids clean up parks and stuff, now what they do now is they'll ask the kids what areas or what career paths that they really want to be involved in, and they'll try to go ahead and get them internships or summer jobs in the fields that they're actually interested in.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Also, when I did financial exploration, that was another thing. I got to intern at Merrill Lynch downtown in Albany. So, yeah, great program. But yeah, I think that they should do that, as opposed to, like you said, you picking up trash in the park or being a school counselor. I mean, a camp counselor, unless that's something that you want to do. Because I remember, the city employment, I was always a camp counselor. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if they could like reroute it to where it's going according to their interests as far as career wise, I think that would be awesome.
I agree. Listen, ain't nothing like interning, man. You can get firsthand experience that you can take with you that will later turn to something that is lucrative.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and shout out to Union Missionary Baptist Church. I know you did mention that earlier.
Yeah.
I just gave them a shout out the other day with Pastor Covington. But I think I probably stole it from you too. I'm saying this on air, but because there was a picture. I think it might have been like you, Lexi, Crystal, LaVasia. I think you guys were doing like I thought was that part of a college tour?
Yeah, that was Progressive Youth, and we would go on college tours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it was funny when I'm not sure who had brought it up. It might have been Crystal though, and I'm just like, yo, yeah, I think I got a picture from all of you guys. And it was like, at the time, I didn't know the significance behind it like that. It was like, now the older that we get and just realize it's like, wow, y'all had a lot of powerful people up in there. I think Rome was up in there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to UMBC.
Yeah.
Let me see, man. My final question for you tonight is: are there any resources like apps, podcasts, books that you're reading? What are you listening to right now that keeps you motivated? Anything that you want to share with the Albany community? Maybe we can tap into those things that keep you energized.
Well, currently I'm reading Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. As far as podcast, I listen to a lot of like social work podcasts. So there's one in particular that is called the Melanated Social Work. It's actually made up of 4 Black social workers. They're men. They're therapists. So I like to get their take on things. The Joy of Social Work, I listen to that. The Real Therapist for the Culture.
Okay, shout out Dr. L.
Shout out to Dr. L. And I would say, yeah. And then I YouTube a lot of stuff too.
Okay.
My pastor, his name is Pastor Battle. He has a podcast. I listen to his podcast as well. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much it. But like, aside from that, you know, I like to listen to Joe Budden. I like to listen to 85 South Show. I like
85 South. I just got put on an 85 South only because one of our financial advisors is actually behind Earn Your Leisure. Okay. So yeah, so Rashad is one of our financial advisors. All right. Before Earn Your Leisure blew up. Okay. But he had just interviewed with them, or Earn Your Leisure interview with them. That's how I got put onto them. Okay. And now I follow them because 85 South was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Whatever the guy's name started with.
Those help. Those types of podcasts help. Club Shay Shay, because I have to turn off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes, so they they help with that.
Okay. And shout out to Joyce Meyer. Her book on forgiveness helped change my life. And I actually I recommended it to another friend of mine who the same person I just mentioned that went to the same school as you, and that changed his life. So you know, I mean, her what was it? Do Yourself a Favor and Forgive. Joyce Myers was really tremendous.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah,
it's changing lives and stuff.
Listen, listen. With the stuff that's changing lives, you gotta go for that.
Go for that. Okay.
Hey, give me some of that, man. Give me some of that. I'm telling people on my social media how good this Obama book is right now, man. It's just like, man, this guy's writing skills are just like.
I have it. I just haven't cracked it open yet.
Well, it's gonna take a while to get through because it's really, really thick.
Yes.
But yeah. But it is enjoyable, like every page. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
So, well, listen, man. My unofficial last question for you is: I like to ask everyone that I interview if there was somebody that you would recommend for me to interview next for back, who would it be?
Well, this is a little biased, but Craig Cannon.
Okay. Listen, man. Well, you can't go wrong with recommendations that involve Charlotte, Johnson C. Smith. Okay, so yeah. So you know, I might have to put my man Mook on here. I know he don't go by Mook no more, but yeah, I might have to put him on here. So got you covered, man. I know. I used to stay up with him. I still stay with him now, but even when he was making that transition down there in Charleston, I'd be like, man, I can't wait to get out of here. So, you know, but okay. All right. I would definitely add that to the list. I think I might be 15 or 16 people already lined up for season 2. Okay. I have a plan of switching some stuff up and broadening the scope of what we're doing, but I like to do things in small increments. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you build it, they will come. Do small things, add on as you go. But yeah,
right.
I had to add my man Craig up in there. So thank you for that.
All right.
All right. Well, listen, Albany community back. We would like to thank Tiera, Miss T, for coming on and extending her time with us tonight. Thank you for opening up your vulnerability, for you just being your authentic self, because that is the greatest representation and that is the greatest selling point to inspiring other people. So thank you for sharing your time with us tonight, and I truly look forward to getting your story out.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me, and just thank you for doing this. This is, like I told you before, I think this is like so awesome. This is what Albany needs. Shoot, I needed it. I didn't even know, like, was it Derek Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Like I said, that he even went to Virginia Union, so that was cool. But just getting to know people's stories and that we all came from the same place, I think that's great. So keep doing what you're doing. God bless you.
Thank you very much. God bless you and the family as well, man. I'll play catch up with you later.
All right.
All right. Have a good night.